Oh, I hear my music going, so that means we have started. What is going on, everyone? It is DD Digital Dimwit here on a Sunday night. Running a little bit late, but that's always expected because it's me. I can never keep my word on something like that. I'll keep my word on um, promises, but I didn't promise that I was going to be on exactly at 9. I said it was kind of something I wanted to do, but hey, I figure everyone's coming down from that Cowboy loss. I'm sorry to hear about that, Cowboy fans. And me, I don't really follow football, so it really doesn't matter to me. It's just another game to me. Now we're talking about baseball. That's a whole other thing. But hey, thank you for joining and thank you for watching. I hope everyone's doing good. We got a couple of topics here. We have. I want to talk a little bit about what is it called? Hold on. I didn't even share this on my Facebook yet. I'm not going to share it. This is just going to be for you all here. Let's see. We got that. We got that. And now I am watching you. Hey, Vettel, what's going on? Vettel, I see you have Cowboy jerseys in your picture. I'm sorry to hear about that loss. So we got a couple of topics here. And if you follow me on Facebook, which I wish you would, I hope you do. Follow me on Facebook. I've been talking a little bit about a lot of mental health issues lately. I'm not an expert. I'm not, a doctor in this. I don't have a degree in it. It's just something that I've studied and something I've always been interested in. So today I figured I'm gonna talk about some narcissism, also some antisocial personality disorder, and how that kind of relates into influencers. You could think of any influencer to relate these topics to. I'm not going to name names because this is kind of just a broad general discussion, a brief general overview, sorry for that. And if there's someone who relates to this, I mean, you more than welcome. What's going on, devoted creator. Thank you all for coming in. I know it's kind of weird, it's a Sunday, and yeah, so we can talk about those topics. You all could, if you want to mention names, that's on you. I'm just going to give it all up, and you all could just do what you want with that information. That's the great thing about education. You can use it the way you want. Some people use it for good. Some people use it for really, really bad things. I'm going to have a co-host, someone who's been wanting to create a platform of their own, someone that you've probably seen on multiple different platforms, and she decided to throw her hat in the ring. And that's great because whereas other people don't want people to be creators, where other people don't want people to have platforms or find success, and people are being greedy, me, I'm not about that. I wish everyone would have a platform because everyone has a voice, everyone has an opinion, and it's important for everyone to share that opinion, to share that voice, to share that stance, and find other like-minded individuals like that. So that's why Purely Nanda, that's what she's going by, that's her name, said that she wants to try getting into this, and I was like, cool, use my platform, we'll bring up topics. And Southex Collectibles, how you doing, sir? How you doing? There's room for everyone on the internet. I've always said it. I've said it for since the beginning. There's no need for any of this attacking just because someone finds more success than you, because that just makes you look ugly. True story right there. I'm not monetizing what's going on. Drink of the video tonight is banana, strawberry, and orange. It's called a Fire Lizard. Super good. And it's loaded with Red Bull. I'm assuming Red Bull. Yeah, I'm just waiting for my co-host. So yeah, that's one thing that's going on. If you want to talk local creators, yeah, except Cowboys fans. Even big times. I mean, a lot of people, and that's kind of why I want to talk about this narcissism and antisocial personality disorder, just don't like to see other people succeed. There's so many traits that I've seen this past week that I'm going to probably get into. Jenna, hey, everyone in the chat. I'm drinking some moonshine. Nice. But like I said, if you're not following the page, I post there. I try and post at least 3 times a day. It's just, interesting stories. I've been covering a lot of true crime. So this episode, maybe at the end, we'll talk a little bit about true crime because there's a lot of cases I've been getting into. that I think is just amazing. Also, the blackout challenge. If you have kids, especially teenagers or young adults, you want to talk to them about social media and stuff, because there's this blackout challenge where kids have been dying because it's the thing on TikTok that everyone's doing right now. So that's also like very scary. Devoted Crafter says, and some people don't want peace; they love the drama and continue. Yes, and that's because money. They know the drama will bring the money, so they'll say, they'll claim that I want it to stop, that I don't need this, that I don't want this. But once they start changing their topics, once they start branching out to have real content, not this fake drama content, because I don't consider that content at all. It's just regurgitating the same hate, as much as they say it's not hate. But you see the video watch drop, you see the subscribers drop, you see a lot of stuff start dropping. So that's when they kind of just, okay, I'm going to talk about this one person, or let's cover this one individual, or let's talk about this one person. And that just sparks the interest. I cover the drama on occasion, but it's never like, oh, let's bash this person. I was like, no, 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 let's have a conversation. Let's see if this person really is doing good, if this person's really doing bad, if this person really cares about anything. And now that I have a couple of people in here, I'm gonna mention something. Let me get this right though. Hold on. Um, some people need to get a job. Yes, social media is not for everybody. You may have what you consider a big following now, but looking, into the future, considering numbers are already dropping now, this isn't a long-term thing unless you're fully dedicated to it, not just sitting in front of a camera and doing stuff. You actually have to put work into it. As much as people hate work, it's a necessity. I mean, I spend about 3 to 4 hours reading and thinking of like what to post and looking into stories and stuff like that. So it's needed. There actually has to be some work. Not everything in this world is free unless you put your Cash App out there and mention how much you need money. Uh, Jenna, I highly agree with you on this one. I believe they can continue to make money without all the drama. I mean, I've been able to monetize and make money without covering the drama, like just talking about, true crime and the morbid reality of today's world. That's kind of what I like talking about. But now that I have enough people on here, this video is monetized, but occasionally I'll make a video, or I'll take a YouTube check and I'll go and donate, and I don't have to just claim that I've done it. I've done it on lives before where I'll donate money that's given to me straight on live, so everyone sees that I'm being completely transparent and stuff. And today it's going to be no different. Any money I make on this video today, whether it's by the ad monetization, whether it's super stickers or whatever, I'm gonna round up everything and we're gonna donate it to Cyber Smile, which is a new organization that I found recently that kind of relates to what's going on in today's world. The Cyber Smile Foundation is a nonprofit organization that focuses on people who deal with cyberbullying, with cyber harassment, with cyber stalking, with gang stalking, and they just provide services to help people get out of those dark areas, to help people who may want to hurt themselves because of things that are being said about them online, to bring awareness, to bring education on that kind of stuff. So anything that I make today is going to go straight to that. I don't need the money. I do this out of love. I don't do this out of money. Uh, there's others for that. But yeah, Cyber Smile, awesome organization. The thing is, they mainly deal with kids because this is a kids issue. Cyber stalking, cyber harassing, and I've always said it, it's schoolyard tactics. It's a schoolyard mentality. It's, that kind of thing that's not really needed in the adult world, where I'm only 30, and even I could see that people who are way older have an issue being able to tell the differences between what kids do and what adults should be doing. So Cyber Smile, I'll do another video talking more about them, but yes, that's where any money from today is going to go. So if you see an ad, um try not to hit skip. I know it's very easy. As soon as an ad comes up, I look for that skip button. But any um money given to me through those ads is going to go to an organization that will make a better world and a better online community for everybody. So I just wanted to get that out there now that I have a couple of viewers. I don't know what's going on. It's a great idea and good for you. Yeah, and I've done it before. I have. It's somewhere on my bookshelf. When we were able to raise $100 in only 2 days to give to a online bullying group, and they sent me a shirt, they sent me a book, and it felt good. And I think we did that last February, so this makes sense. Like, um, any money made from now until the end of February will probably go into CyberSmile. My co-host still isn't ready, but hopefully everyone's having a good day. Whether you're upset or excited about the 49ers win, just be happy. And then I think my co-host also wanted to address some creators. I mean, there's some creators that she has issues with. I don't think she's gonna call everything out directly, but that'll be another video. Depending on how this video goes, I'll invite her to come on and we'll talk about more topics and stuff like that. Hey, Stop Text Collectibles, we need to talk soon, man. I want to go hang out with you. Genius, what is going on? Hello, Genius. I am the dimwit. And that wasn't even intentional, man. Like, I forgot that you were going by Genius when I created my platform, and you had your platform already, so that's good. Don't worry, you're not late. We're still kind of in the midst of it. We're kind of just talking, getting getting comfortable, shaking off the cobwebs a little bit. What's going on, Danny? And I think my co-host might be ready. If she gives me a thumbs up. All right. Everyone, this is a new content creator that should be coming on the scene depending on how well this goes. So, be friendly with her. Maybe she'll come back on my show. She's going to start putting stuff on her platform based on topics that she likes. I can't talk about women problems or women issues, so that's going to be her, forte and stuff. I'll talk about guy issues. But everyone, welcome Purely Nanda. What is going on?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm digging that space thing. Really goes with my aesthetic here.
You like that? Isn't that adorable?
That's a cool light.
I apologize, everyone. I have a 4-year-old beautiful little boy, and 4-year-old little boy did not want to go to bed yet.
Okay, so I've been talking to the crowd for a couple of minutes already. I think 13 minutes to be exact to the second. I explained to them that you're wanting to create your own platform and that there's room for everybody and everyone should be allowed to create and say what they want without being attacked just because someone finds success. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that before we start getting into our topics.
Oh, that is so true. I really encourage people to share the love, empower others to get somewhere in life. And people go through the darkest days at times. Really dark days, bad things happen, but be the person to help them overcome that and slowly reach that destination to become the best version of themselves, because that's all we could do. And I don't want to get into too much, but I just feel people need to be more understanding and be more loving and give the light to some people.
Yeah. It's one thing to say you're not a hate page. It's another thing to show it. That's the way I see it, at least. But
Right.
I'm ready to get into the topics. I know you've spoken a few times before about mental health, mental illnesses, especially with people who have platforms. Um, so I just want to see if you want to talk a little bit about antisocial personality disorder, ASPD. It's even more common nowadays.
Yeah, those are great topics, and there's so many platforms you can even cover. I mean, we can pick a platform per show because there's so much to discuss in either one of them. And I don't know if y'all know who I am. I am Purely Nanda. My profession is information technology. I'm in technology, and that's what I do every day. And that being that I'm in that environment of information technology, I see a lot of stuff going on. And just as Digital Dimwit is, he's also in information technology. And being that we're behind the scenes and he's the digital creator, I'm not. I just hop around and look around. You see a lot of things it's frightening. And sometimes we want to build relationships with these creators, but we really need to look at who we're talking about. And we can go over several different creators without actually saying names that we've come across in our lifetime doing, or different platforms. For example, Snapchat. Everybody got on Snapchat thinking, everything I put on here is going to get erased, but it's not. Somebody's video screening it, somebody's taking their own snap with their phone, screenshotting it. And then you got the IT guys in the back who work those servers, and that stuff don't go away. They're sitting there laughing at all these pictures. And if there is a bad person in that environment, they can easily steal all that data and publish it. And I'm not saying Snapchat does that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you have to be very careful of what you put out there, because you're leaving a digital footprint, and it's very hard to erase a digital footprint. And people in the IT world, depending on where you're at, we try not to leave that digital footprint. You kind of stay in the shadows a little bit. They say, oh yeah, they're the ones back there with the black lights, hiding. Yeah, we're in a dungeon. And then you have ones that are coming out more face forward, which is like Digital Dimwit, and which is what I'm looking to do, because I do have a private business doing IT work. And I closed that for a time being because I picked up on some contracts. But now I'm looking to come back into that, environment as my own business again, and set up a location. But at the same time, I want to be able to have fun and come out there, have my own digital creator, area where I can help other people with IT issues, or the other thing I'm very big on, I have a big, strong cause in my life, and that's domestic violence. And that's something I help a lot of women with that. And it's a very hard road to go down. It's the most brutal road you can go down. And there's women out there who want someone to talk to, and I'm more than happy to help them, but at the same time, get them to professional experts, and I'm really big about empowering other people, other women. So many times we have women that women shame or knock you down. And I'm that woman that's like, no, honey, you get out there, and you give them what you got. You've got grit, girl, get out there. And I want to be able to help other people do that too, and the other thing we run into as women we run into these narcissistic men, and boy, will they tear your world apart. Once you run into a narcissist, expect a couple years of hell and a lot of therapy. And I want other women to realize those signs before they even get there. As soon as he's already blown up your phone, you see those red flags, just block him, and work that way through life so that you finally meet the right person for you. I mean, there's no Mr. Right, there's Mr. Perfect. And that's my opinion on that. And I want you to be able to distinguish those. And by us talking about different digital creators and different mental health items, you'll be able to do that yourself, and you won't get in that situation, because there's a lot of women watching us now who may have been in domestic violence and are looking to get out, or let's say they're going through a troubled relationship and they're not sure who they can go to, who they can talk to. They want somebody anonymous who's not going to go tell so and so and not going to, hey, reach out to me. Let me know what's going on. Let's see if I can help you get out of this. Get you to a safe place. That's the biggest thing. We want you to be safe, not just in the reality, but on a digital platform and in the virtual world. What do they call it now? The metaverse.
The metaverse. Yeah, and like Ronnie said here, like a safe space for women. Like I like the idea of that, like having a safe space for women, but like I'm a guy, so I can't say like, oh, all the women come over here, like let me have a woman's only platform or anything. Like, no, like it doesn't seem right to like only focus on like, that thing as a guy. Like that's perfect, and like that's a real good niche that you could, do, and like you could, take that over. I don't think locally speaking there's anyone that kind of does that yet. There probably is, but not on my radar at least. But yeah, it looks like some people are excited about that. That's something they could probably look forward to on your platform a little bit.
And one thing you always talk about too is serial killers.
serial killers, that's my thing. True crime, like not even serial killers, just it only takes one to become a true crime story. Um, but yeah, that'd be something good. I think a lot of people are kind of probably gonna look for you to add you on YouTube because if that's kind of topics you're gonna be bringing up. I mean, I would watch. Not if it's a whole
Yes,
episode. Not if it's a whole episode attacking narcissistic men, because then I feel like I'm gonna have to retaliate and talk like, hey, women are narcissistic too. There's a
there
lot of
is.
female
There
narcissists out
is.
there
It
that will.
goes both ways. And
Yeah,
you
so I
run into
think that's good.
narcissism and not just. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I was drinking.
No, you run into narcissistic people, and it's not just that. There's sociopath. There's so many different things that you run into. People with mental health disorders that you don't want to engage too far with that because it's like a broken piece. They tell people when you try to help someone, think of it as broken glass. If you're not careful, you can cut yourself. And so, yes, in due time, I want to open up my channel and throw my digital creator page, and then yes, you can reach out to me. One thing I don't do are called secret chat groups because they're not really secret, right? Somebody's screenshotting
Yeah.
that, somebody's sharing it, and we see that all happening right now. I haven't been in a
Even to
secret
this day,
chat.
people will send me stuff from people's like secret chats. Like if it's one in one or a group, I'm like, okay, like yeah, it's juicy and stuff, but that's why I don't really join into it either. Or else, not that I say anything bad, but just the fact that one thing I say could be twisted, 100 different ways to make me look bad.
Yes, and that's true. So I don't do secret chat groups. If you reach out to me, one-on-one, you have questions, I'll be more than happy to do that. Once I get a little bit more comfortable with this with a couple shows and open up my YouTube channel, we can do it through the chats, things of that nature. I won't have a supporter chat group or things of that nature because I do feel people deserve privacy. They deserve to be able to trust someone with some of their deepest secrets, their most vulnerable moments, and I want to be able to help them as much as I can. And normally, I know a lot of professionals too that can help. I mean, I can only help them so much. After that, they have to get to a therapist. I myself am a survivor of domestic violence, and it took me a year and a half of therapy to not go back. It's a brutal road. It's brutal. And I want to make sure they get the right person to help them with that, and they find that
Yeah.
safe place. And if we have secret chats, it's not going to be so secret. So somebody else may see that. Somebody else may be secretly friends with this other person or the abuser, and then they're going to turn around and share all that, intimate information or those secret locations, things of that nature, to the other party. So again, I won't have group chats. I'll give you my best advice that I can, being that I'm 45 years old. I'll give you the best advice that I can, and if there's stuff that you want to talk to more intimate or more secret that you have issues with, then please, you can private message me. And I may not get to you right away. I have a 4-year-old little boy. I'm a single mom, and I also take care of my mother. So I've got my hands full, but I will be there.
No, and that's good because domestic violence is way more common than anyone thinks. Back when I was a dispatcher, it was maybe 4 or 5 times a day I would have to deal with something related to domestic violence, and that was just for one city. So you can imagine multiple cities, multiple states. I'm sure everyone, sad to say, has either been affected by a domestic violence situation or knows someone who has been affected by a domestic violence situation. So having open communication helps. Having you give your survivor story, your testimony about it would help too. Would probably help a lot of people just to start taking those first steps on escaping their situation.
And it's just like you said earlier, it's not just men, it's women, and sometimes domestic violence isn't just the intimate relationship between people, it can be other people, but it's hard to label that domestic violence if they're not in an actual relationship together. But domestic violence it can run in so many different ways in this world, and you have to be able to see that. And I myself at one time, I didn't stop and think, where I made some comments that I shouldn't have made, and I've apologized to that person publicly. Not publicly, but personally. I told her I'm sorry, because you know what? Me as a survivor of a lot of trauma, I sat back and I looked at her and I learned her story. And I just watched quietly, learning her story. And I saw this beautiful woman who been through so much trauma that she was now in a fight or flight reaction. And that's because she'd been through so much and she never had time to deal with that trauma. And some unfortunate events happened, and I saw that there was domestic violence, but it involved 2 little girls. And my goal was, I want those little girls safe. But the thing is, the violence wasn't only coming from inside the household, it was coming from the public more than anything else. Anything else. And I saw that. And the little girls have been moved so that now she can get that trauma therapy that she needs. She can recover. And she can become the greatest version of herself. Because she is a beautiful soul, and everybody deserves to be able to have compassion and understanding. And that's what I gave her, compassion and understanding. And I told her I'm sorry. And now I don't know where she is right now, but I wish her nothing but light, love, and prosperity. I pray she's able to get everything she needs so that she can become the greatest version of herself. And she can be the greatest mother ever. Sorry, y'all can hear my little 4-year-old. 1 second. Let me get him out of the room. Let me get my mom. 1 second.
Yeah, so I think we all kind of pick up on who that individual was. Everyone has their different opinions on that individual. Oh, she's back. Everyone has their own opinions on that individual, and it's fine. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions. It's when you start taking actions based on those opinions and stuff like that. Personally, I've had my issues with, Vanessa in the past. I've done my videos on her. I've talked about her. Haven't gone as far as stalking, waiting at courthouses or anything like that. But I'm a firm believer in justice. Yes, there are things that she needs to answer for. There are things that, have been pushed maybe a little too much, but there's a line between wanting justice and then just wanting to make someone suffer, and that's kind of where I see a lot of the division between people. But
yeah, and I didn't want to say her name because she deserves her privacy. But
No,
yes, I wish her nothing but light and love and prosperity. I hope she becomes the greatest version of herself so that she can come back and be the greatest mother. Because no matter what anybody thinks, those 2 girls and her sons will always, and her grandchildren, they're always going to need her. They're always going to need her. And so that's why I wish her light and love. And that's what you can do as a human being, and especially as a God-fearing woman. That's another thing I wish for women and people is really find your faith, because it's so hard to lose it. It's so hard to lose your faith. And I myself lost my faith for a while, but then I got introduced to my spirituality, and man, not only did I embrace that spirituality, but every faith out there, and I realized that yes, God loves us. God loves us. And no matter which religion you go, spirituality, they all go to a God, right? And He loves us. And as long as you have God in your heart and you know that He loves you, it really gives you a different mindset, and it sets you on a much more pure path in life. And you learn to let things go because you know what? It doesn't matter. Jesus loves me. God loves me. That's what matters.
Yeah. And I get real, not picky, but like religion's a real touchy subject with me because a lot of people try using that as a shield. Like they're allowed to say whatever they want, and then at the end it's like, but it's okay because I read the Bible, I go to church, but in those hours where they're not in church, they're attacking, they're thinking it's a shield that gives them permission to say whatever they want. Like if it's one of the amendments, if it's like a freedom of speech amendment clause, because that's something a lot of people also use is oh, it's the First Amendment, so I could say this. I'm like, no, there's things that the First Amendment does not cover, and a lot of people don't really understand that.
And you have to watch with that. People speak so much hate. They speak so much hate, but that hate, I don't know if y'all ever watched or if you've ever watched or read the book or watched the documentary on The Secret, or about the law of attraction.
Mhm.
And that is so true. So when you're projecting it, even though you're thinking, oh, I just want this certain person, oh honey, no. it may not hit that person. It's going to hit somebody else. And then not only that, it comes back tenfold. So you have to be careful of what you say and what you think. And if you read the Law of Attraction, or watch the documentary The Secret, follow the Law of Attraction page, you learn so much about it, and you learn to have much pure thoughts, because your thoughts is like quantum physics, and you don't want to project harm on anyone. I mean, what was it? I saw Manny posted behind the mic. He posted how many shootings were last night and how many people got killed. This is a sad world, and why do we want to create more of that hate and that violence and that hurt? At least instead of doing that, be the person who tries to help someone. And yes, you have to be careful how you do it, but be that person, because you may not know what they're going through. And so many times too, when you go to work, somebody can have a grumpy mood, but why? What's behind that? So just smile, say good morning, help that person have at least a little bit of a better day,
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. There's times where I'm having the worst day ever, to where I don't even want to get out of bed. I'm having, not dark thoughts, but I'm just having thoughts of like doubt, not self-hatred, but just like ego's down, my everything's down. But I don't want that to spread to others. I don't want others to be aware. So like, someone says hi to me, like I take that as, okay, like someone's taking time to say hi to me. So it's kind of like a confidence booster. So it's kind of just spread good. Like I'm not trying to be a preacher or anything out here, but like it costs nothing to say something nice to someone. It costs nothing just to show someone kindness.
What is Frank saying time? It costs nothing to be a good person.
Yeah.
Right? And even Frank, when he has, and he's apologized. He apologized. He's changed things. He's been doing awesome. And I am so proud of Frank that he took that time to unplug from the virtual world or environment and the external. He took that time to unplug and do right by him and and by his faith, and now project that back out into the world, which is beautiful. And I think everyone should do that.
Oh, I did that, I think, the whole month of December, if not like at least a few weeks, and it was amazing. Like I did a blackout to where I really wasn't watching anybody or anything, because I mean, sometimes that just starts leaking into you. Like you start picking up, that kind of attitude, and I think it's good just to take yourself away from that.
Yes. And I saw somebody put my Sunday was good, and I hope everybody had a blessed Sunday. Who ended up winning the game, the Cowboys or the Niners?
For Niners, but I really don't watch football. I find out all the information just because my whole Facebook feed is littered with that. And I say littered.
That's my team. That's my team, man. That's my team. They've always been. I shit you not, and this is no lie. I had to stop telling people because this movie came out. So my original goal in life before getting into IT was I was an athletic trainer, and I wanted to be, I shit you not, the sports physician to the 49ers. And then that movie, Something About Mary, came out. Yeah, so I couldn't talk about it anymore because I was like, dang it. But then I kind of stepped a little bit back from sports, and I got into forensic pathology, and I would watch Dr. Bodden even do autopsies. I'd be there eating a sandwich like no biggie, right?
Oh man, I've done that too.
And it changed everything.
Yeah. Like I've seen like crime photos back, like when I worked in Canada. Like they would like show photos and stuff like that, and it was kind of stomach wrenching at first, but after a while, it's like, man, this is interesting. Like on what could happen to a body, or like what something so small like could do to someone. But that's
like even the stomach content. Content will give a time. I saw one where the husband said he gave up this big old story, right? And when they did the autopsy, they found that she never digested her food. And because she didn't digest her food, that tells you that the death happened immediately after she ate. And then they found the receipt from the restaurant. Yeah. She was by her husband right after she had finished the food. And that's what got him, was that, the receipt from the restaurant, and that they saw them there, and that they had just left. They got him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then like kind of going back into like not only platforms but like creators and people who call themselves influencers, like those are like words I really don't like because I feel like those carry so much weight and responsibility, and it comes with a cost. It comes with a cost because if you're putting yourself out there so much in front of people, that's when you start developing like these disorders, whether it's anxiety, depression, antisocial personality. You start becoming a little more narcissistic, and that's why I don't do it as much as I would like to. Yeah, I would like to do it maybe like every other day, not every day like most people, but like every once in a while, it's fun. It's a nice boost of serotonin for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my anxiety skyrocketed just coming up out here, and my friends had always told me you should blog, and I'm like,
Yeah,
but I'm afraid to. I was one of those people who would never leave my house after some trauma I went through. So I would never leave my house, and it was hard for me to slowly, with a lot of therapy, slowly start coming out more.
yeah,
And then I used to be a bank counselor for many of years, and I took a leave of absence. And then I said, after some therapy, I said, okay, it's time to go back to work. And I applied for a job, or no, I was, and they said, I was looking, yeah, applying for jobs. And they said, hey, we want you to come in and take a test. And I said, okay. So I passed this test, and they said, we're going to send you to school for free for IT boot camp. And I said, okay. And that's what I did. And that's how I got into IT. So sorry, I keep going tangents, but yeah. So once that started, it was so easy with IT because depending on what role you have in IT, you're in a dungeon. You don't talk to anybody. You just fix the stuff, run the software, things like that. Handle servers, whatever. And then I got into this role called desk side support, where you actually go to end users and you fix their computer, their microphone, whatever it is. You go in, and then as I had to do that, and oh man, my anxiety was off the charts. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. And then I started doing it. And then I started interacting with people more and more. And then my coworkers couldn't tell me to shut up.
Yeah. I've had to deal with so much stress and anxiety, like in my different jobs. I don't think I think I've only said it once in all my lives is that I was a mascot. I've been a mascot multiple times. I was a high school mascot. I was a mascot for Toys R Us, where I was the one that was in that giraffe suit for a while. And then I was also Dr. Teddy Bear. I was the mascot that would go to like the Viper games and the Killer Bee games and just go to events and stuff like that. And I would have to perform and entertain like a whole crowd, like in between quarters and stuff like that. And that built up so much anxiety in me because I don't like being looked at in general, but to have a whole crowd looking at me, waiting to see what I'm going to do next. But the more I did it, like the more I became like comfortable with it and comfortable with like being out there. And then shortly after I stopped doing that, that's when I created my own platform where I was like, not that I like the attention, it's just like I like feeling like I have a sense, like a purpose, like to entertain, to just
that's your purpose. I could totally see you do that. You're that person who can make somebody want to wake up every morning. Just like Jaime. Jaime, everybody knows Jaime's story, how he overcame addiction, and I love that about him. And not only did Jaime overcome it, he came out swinging from it to where he's at a point now. I feel like Jaime can help other people pull them out of it or get them to the right person, and he can encourage those people because they're lost souls. And Jaime was a lost soul at one point too. And so now Jaime can help those people on his platform how to overcome addiction and get them where they need to be in life. And I'll tell you another thing about him. If you're a woman or anybody where you need somebody there, a ride or die to help protect you, you've got some guy who won't leave you alone, banging on your door, whatever, call Jaime. He'll be there swinging. And normally he doesn't get into that stuff, but he will come and he'll, that's what I love about him, and he does a lot for kids. There's no place for them. Parents, others will go to him, and Jaime will pick up for them. And I can understand because in the valley, everybody's crazy. But you tell Jaime, and Jaime will come out swinging. I love that about him.
I don't know if it's your mic, but you keep cutting off. But I'm getting the gist of it. I think everyone else is picking up on what you're putting down there, but Yeah,
Can you
like
hear me now?
yeah, like I've spoken to Jaime a few times. Like, not people assume that like on the phone with him 24/7. I think in the past 2 months I've spoken on the phone with him like two, maybe three times, and it's complete night and day. Like he has his character, like you've seen it in his shows, where he'll take off the wig and he'll be
He'll
Jaime.
address you personally, yeah.
Yeah, and I've told him on my show. I've called into his show. I've told him over the phone. I'm like, Ruby's good. Ruby is entertaining. Ruby is fun, but Jaime is what people will keep people there.
He can help a lot of people
Like,
get off
yeah, like
out of drug addiction.
Ruby will put seats, put asses in the seats, but I think Jaime would keep the people there and would. I know it's too late in the game for him because he already has all his following on the Ruby channel, but I mean, if he created like a separate channel to where he has his skits, he has his funny stuff there, and then on his Jaime channel it's just pure talk, kind of like what we're doing right now, just having conversations with people, because everyone has a story. I would appreciate like if everyone here in my chat reached out to me and said, hey, I want to come on and I want to talk about something that I dealt with. I want to talk about my life. Go for it. Everyone has a story. I'm not gatekeeping here. I'm not saying that like, no, it's my platform, we're going to talk about what I want to talk about. No, everyone's welcome to do, like, everyone has something to say.
Right?
Sorry, I'm just
And I think he could still do it. I think Jaime could still do it. And he's doing it now, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that reach out to him for help, probably privately. He just doesn't talk about it on his show because he understands that those people deserve their privacy,
Yeah.
And so that's what I wish Jaime would get his degree as a therapist. He'd be amazing. And who knows, maybe he's on the works, but we don't talk to him every day, so we don't know. But let's go back into what we're talking about with the cyber bloggers. Do you want to start with like Facebook or YouTube applications?
I mean, it's all really one and the same. The only difference is YouTube is a little more personal since it's more direct and talking to individuals directly, whereas blogging like on YouTube or Pinterest or even tweeting or people who use Tumblr, that's kind of just more like a wide net. I've done both. I've had two websites before to where I paid for the domain and I would like run them. I would write, articles and lists and stuff. That's fun. It's a little bit harder to get into the drama when you're doing that because you have time to edit your mind. You have time to edit what you say. Whereas when you do a live like this, I mean, it's just out there. It gives people a chance to react a lot quicker because not a lot of people read apparently, and they just hear it and they just run with it rather than actually like taking time to, see what the context of what's being said is.
Yeah, and we were going to touch on that subject when it comes to, bloggers or YouTubers. You have to be careful with them. I've heard so many stories and seen them. Like, for example, there was one couple. It was a couple, and next thing you know, they were like, want to be reality stars. And they would brought this young girl on the show, and everybody thought, oh, it's the wife's friend, right? Turns out this young girl was a minor, and she was kind of being held there, and there was.
Are you talking about Repsion?
What's the name?
Repsion?
I don't want to say. I don't want to say their name, because I don't want people who actually like them to come at me or you. I don't want to mention top names, but yeah, that's one of them where that girl was being abused by them, and she was a minor, so they were pedophiles. Yet all these people were so wrapped up in it until somebody was like, whoa, wait a minute, that's a little girl. She looks, and us women, we mature beautifully, and sometimes we look a lot older than we are, and somebody picked up on it. I think I don't remember the whole story, but yeah, they found out it was a minor, and they were holding her there, and it was a horrible situation. That's what I'm saying. You have to be very, very careful when you're watching these YouTubers, bloggers, things of that nature. And we can even do another show about hackers and how all of our, the ones that we all pray homage to every day, anonymous, they have come in and they've taken down pedophiles, and they've taken down cartels, things of that nature, to help with the government. I mean, they don't always help the police, but when it comes to a child or that situation, they'll jump into it. but we can
Yeah.
do a whole different show on that one. But right
Yeah,
now we
that could
can.
be a whole topic is anonymous. Hopefully they don't come after me afterwards, but
No,
you
I
know.
haven't heard of them being active in a while. They've kind
No,
of, I think,
there's
restructured for a little bit.
there's a new hacker cell that's going on that they've kind of picked up what Anonymous left off on. I can't
What's
remember
the
the
name
name
of
of
that
it.
one?
I can't remember the name of it.
See, and
But yeah,
I haven't. Last time I kept up with that is when I did. I was on a contract doing helping with IT security at UTSA, and that's when we were, and that's when it happened. Everything happened with the young girl Amanda in Canada, and Anonymous stepped in, and
well,
they wiped
they
this
were
guy
also the ones behind "Don't F with Cats," weren't they? Do you
out.
ever
I
see
don't
that
remember that
documentary?
one.
Yeah, there's a
Uh-uh.
documentary on YouTube called like "Don't F with Cats," and it was this person who was caught on camera, um, killing cats or like abusing cats or like throwing them in trash cans and stuff like that. But it was just um, like a closed circuit like camera that was like uploaded on YouTube or uploaded to 4chan or something, and Anonymous and other hackers were able to find that person and like turn that person in like with the evidence of that camera footage. I'm getting like
Mhm.
some details like a mix. It's hazy. It's been a while since I've watched it, but yeah, like that just shows the power of what they could
Of
do.
a hacker. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're man, they're amazing. Um, but yeah, so that, and back to what we were going to talk about is bloggers and all that. You have to be very careful with who you're watching. Just like with TikTok, you have your daughters on TikTok. Well, on TikTok, they make these TikTok, and what you don't know is that pedophiles will start to follow her, and then they'll
Hmm.
find out because you have the location turned on. So while they're doing these TikToks and stuff, they're able to slowly maneuver their way to find out the location of the child. Then
Yeah.
they come in and yes, they take the child. Why? Because she was on TikTok making videos with her location on.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it. There's times where people are able to identify like someone who's watching them or potential traffickers just watching these kids like in the background. I wish I
Yep.
could pull it up because I saw that just yesterday too, where it's these three teenagers. They're live streaming because they're in a foreign country and they're trying like the food and the snacks. So they have like their camera set up, and there's someone just in a hood, like just watching them for like like minutes, just staring at them, and then occasionally like he'll look off to the side and he'll do like a gesture, and he ends up like walking up to them and he's talking to them, and he starts like asking them like, oh, like what are they doing and stuff like that, and then he notices that the camera's like aimed at them, and he's like, oh, are you taking my picture? And she's like, oh no, we're live right now. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll see you later. And then like he goes and he makes like a gesture like this and walks away. Like if that camera
Yep.
wasn't on, who's to say like there's not a van full of guys waiting to take those girls. And in other countries, I mean, abduction happens everywhere. Like here in
Oh,
Texas,
yeah.
we have three of the biggest trafficking areas in the country, being Houston, Brownsville, and I want to say Laredo or El Paso. One of those top three in the
It's a
country are just right here.
Yep. I've had to take some Homeland Security trainings, uh, depending on what contract I've picked up. And that was one of them is exploitation of the minor or of children and
Mhm.
sex trafficking. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh yeah,
And so when you buy your kids their tablets, things like that, make sure you have the parental controls turned on. Make sure you turn off the location. Make sure you're watching what content they're on, because just like we're warning you to be careful with some of the digital creators out there and how some of them are narcissists and stuff like that, just the way you guys engage with what's going on in the outside world, on the virtual metaverse, whatever you want to call this, just the way you guys get so far into it to where people go way too far, just the way
yeah,
you do, that's how kids do too, teenagers. And that's how little girls get taken by pedophiles, because she saw somebody on IG and fell in love with all his photos, or somebody on TikTok or YouTube, whatever,
mhm,
and they thought, if let's say it's IG, we'll say hypothetically IG, She
Okay.
gets on IG and she thinks, oh my God, this is, this guy that's 17 or 16, 15 my age and all this stuff. When really it's a grown man behind it, a 40-year-old pedophile, and he's just luring her in,
Yeah,
luring her in.
I think like in the late '90s, there's always like all the sitcoms out there. There was always an episode of like one of the kids on the show being lured to a pedophile's house.
Yep.
I watch a lot of Degrassi. There is one of the main girls that she found like her dream boyfriend. They were talking for months, and they had agreed to meet at a hotel because that he was on a school field trip, so he was gonna like sneak her in so they could meet. And it turns out it was this guy who was actually a teacher who brought her into the room and didn't let her leave. There's an episode of Smart Guy where he was lured in thinking he was going to go meet this teenager who had a bunch of video games, and it was this guy who just wanted to take pictures of him in a bathing suit kind of thing. So like that was like the early stages of it, but like now it's a lot bigger because now you could just like, hey, I'm 15, I want to meet this person that I met online, I'm just gonna Uber there. I don't have to like have my parents drive me anywhere, I don't have to have adults near me.
Well, it's
Like,
because they don't realize, like, for example, just because a blogger tells you something, don't take it as gold. Don't take it as gold. I mean, how many of those digital nomads on IG make up that whole shot you just saw? That photo was all fake, and they did all of it just to make. Those are the narcissists that manipulate your mind, and
Yeah.
they do it so that these women will come in and be like, "Oh, you're so hot." It's their thirst traps, and it's not just thirst traps for older women, but even younger kids. And you're all into this, and then they get you in with those love bombs, and once they get you with the love bombs, then they'll start to do the lies, and they hover you, they repeat. I mean, and that's the one thing we can get more into. We're going to talk about is the narcissist and how a narcissist's mind works. And you have to be able to see those red flags. But the main thing to learn first when dealing with any type of application, whether or platform, whether if you're dealing with any app, when we're talking about TikTok, IG, things like that, you need to be able to know how a psyche and learn more about the psyche, so that when you see those red flags, you already know, like, whoa, and you take more precautions in your life, and you learn that when you watch these shows and things of that nature, don't get so much into it, to where you're doing stupid stuff that can get you in trouble. You have to be also very careful what you say online.
Well,
I'm
that's
sorry,
because a lot of people will do their live or they'll do their Instagram photos and they're living in that moment. They're living in that hour that they're live. They're living in that, 5 second.
They're in a hotel room. Yeah.
And they're not realizing repercussions, taking accountability for what you're doing. But yeah, like that fake thing. I don't know if you can see it. I posted up how there's like these fake airplanes where influencers go and take photos and make it seem like they're traveling the world, or they're going on this awesome trip, but it's just like the airplane cabin.
Right.
Like that's the kind of stuff to where you really don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. A lot of, and even some of the biggest creators, like I'm talking about real creators who have like millions of followers, a lot of them deal with depression. A lot of them feel that they can't deal with that high that they want, that high of being liked, being adored. And it's because a lot of these people, like the big creators, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them were social outcasts. A lot of them, myself included, were social outcasts. They weren't used to the kind of attention that they got online, so they feel like they need to make up for it. They feel that they need that they're finally getting the attention they've always wanted, so that's why they go bigger. That's why they get badder. That's why they are willing to do whatever they want or whatever they can just to get people to watch them, just to get someone to say hi to them in a chat, just to get someone to say that, oh, I follow you. And that's what builds up more of that narcissism. That's what just proves their personality disorders that they have.
Yep. And so that's why I'm glad we're doing this show, so that people learn to, yes, it's fun to go online and look at, bloggers, digital nomads, all of that. But you have to be very careful when you do that. and you
Yeah.
have to really look at things, and you have to learn to take it from I'm just watching. You have to learn not to take it to where you're jumping in or you're creating heinous acts at the same time because you're so caught up in it, you know. And
Exactly.
you also have to watch what you say, because certain things you say online, if you get mad at somebody, everything you're putting on there online is actually admissible in court. It's public. So
Mhm.
if you're making terroristic threats to someone, yes, somebody can take that and turn around and get you charged with terroristic
Or
threats.
even little
You know?
indirects. Even little indirects,
Yes, yes,
like you may think that like, oh, you're so smart using a little indirect and you're being funny. Well, when it comes to, you know, being in court with lawyers who are much smarter, with judges that are much more smarter, and they're able to see between the lines there, they're able to figure out what you were saying or what you were doing. That's when you're going to feel like an idiot in court thinking you were, you know, some genius mastermind or some hilarious host or something like that. It comes back.
you know, and that's who opened my eyes about the biggest drama we had here for over 3 years in the Valley. Right? So
Mhm.
I don't want to mention her name because I want her to have as much as possible. So after everything happened with her daughters, I stopped watching, you know. I went
Mhm.
back, you know, I had a baby too, and so I'm too busy doing that. And I was in court, you know, we all gotta mom's gotta go see the child support court, right?
Yeah.
I'm in court and I hear the judge, and he's a great judge. I love him. And he looks at one of the parents, you know, with the dad, and he says to him, you know, I'm sitting there watching him. I love him. He reminds me of Matlock. I love him. And he tells him straight up, no matter what you think of her, no matter what, your kids are always going to be their mother. That's their mother. And
Mhm.
your opinion, okay, I get that. But you need to look at what your kids think and what your kids want. And they want their mom. And at some point, those little girls, they're going to need their mom. And that's why I want her to be the best version of her. Because that judge is the one that hit me in the face about it when he tells the dad, I don't care what you think. Those kids are always going to need their mother. And you need to know that. You need to remember that. And I was like, wow. And then that was when I was like, damn, Fernanda, you're an idiot. But, you know, I just want those little girls to be safe. But while I'm watching it all happen, like I said before, I didn't see that the safety was so much her. It was everybody else attacking her.
Yeah.
Or
Um,
how would I put it? I think I worded that wrong. I didn't see that the violence was so much her in the household. I saw it more the mob coming at her. That's
yeah.
what was like,
It was
oh
that
my
mob
God.
mentality, and like we see it for a while. I guess everyone got tired of that one individual, and people were already like, hey, we're already in a group, like let's just find a new target. And that's where it started breaking off into, now we have these gangs, now we have these, you know, different groups who all think they're in the right. I feel that everyone is wrong and right at in some points. There's not one side that's completely like, oh, okay, let's take this as gold and run with this. No, there's some people that do good things. There's some people that go too far because it's that mob mentality. They see everyone else doing it, so they think it's okay. They see it as like, okay, we're all here at this level. We're all good. If I go a little bit higher, everyone's going to agree with me. So let's go higher. Let's do this vandalism. Let's do these threats. Let's follow these people here. Let's post this. Let's do that. And that's what's just creating this powder keg of internet drama where everyone seems to be the gladiator crowd mentality. That's kind of what I was thinking of. And
And we're doing it
it's
as
dangerous.
adults. Imagine if it's kids, if it's teenagers. How many times have we found that a teenager was killed by his friends? That's where it
Yeah.
started, an online war. And that's
Yeah.
why we have David's Law now, to protect kids with that. But
Mhm.
David's Law mostly involves schools and things of that nature. And then
Mhm.
there's other laws for adults. So,
Yeah, but we
and I
have all these
about too.
kids we have all these teenagers in school who are taking their own lives because of this drama. And that's unfortunate, but we're seeing it with these local creators to where now everyone's coming close to that point because of how nasty things are getting. And the thing
Yeah.
that freaks me out is there's so many people who have jumped sides, who have jumped ship to like go to one site that has a bigger following, and then once that person starts losing like followers, okay, well, I'm gonna jump back to this side because I could grow, my platform, or I could be more liked over here. Like there's more people here that will like me, so I'm gonna go comment on here, or I'm gonna go be a part of this group. So at a certain point, you start thinking like, okay, maybe it's not just them following the content creator. Maybe it's not them because they like what this person has to say. Maybe it's just because this other person doesn't like them. If that makes
And
sense.
that's another thing. People need to, yeah, I get what you're saying. And also, people need to learn to, and I know we're circling back on this, but there's a reason why we did that. It's just a reminder to y'all. Have fun.
You're breaking up. I didn't hear a single word on that one.
Oh, can you hear that one?
Yeah, I can
Can you
hear
hear me
now.
now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we circled back on this, but there's a reason why we're doing it. And again, it's a buffer. Hello, we're going to tell you again. You need to really watch what you're doing online. You need to watch what you're saying. You need to have more love in your heart for others. And you need to stay away from the hate. You need to get away from it. Walk away. And be more weary of who you follow online. Go look at God before you look at a creator as God. That's your God. Don't how does it say in the Bible about false gods? Don't be praying to a false god or idolizing false gods. There you go. Right?
Like false idols. But there's some individuals here who will take a certain content creator. You could think about it as local. You could think of it as big time also, like real content creators. And they will take every word they say as the truth. They will take every action they do as a necessary good, necessary evil. And having that kind of blind followers, that blind trust, is very damaging, because it's going to go from I'm going to follow everything this creator does to I'm going to do anything for this creator.
And now you're in a criminal accomplice. Depends what happened.
Yes, and the thing is, a lot of individuals are really prone to that kind of I know I've made a video on it before. I forgot what I called it. Parasocial relations. There's people who fall for these parasocial relationships to where they feel that just because they see this person live every day, just because they hear this person say I love my fans, or they build up this relationship in their heads where like, oh, this person is my friend. This is, I will do anything for this friend. I will do anything. I'll help my friend out, and I will, sad to say, I will, hurt people who are trying to hurt my friend. And that's what all this is turning into.
I think on that note, it's because they don't understand what loyalty really is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I hear you. People are asking like for your platform and stuff like that. I'll go ahead and I'll share your channel on my page, so you can start bringing
Once
in your.
I put it together, I will. And loyalty, you only owe loyalty to yourself. You pay your own bills, right? You're gonna go to jail for somebody else, so you only need to have loyalty to yourself. And loyalty is not, oh, this is my ride or die. Even though she's lying, she's doing something wrong. Guess what? I'm gonna be right behind her. No, loyalty means telling that the person that you love that they're wrong, and then you having compassion for them and empathy and understanding. And yes, you tell them they're wrong, but you also help them fix themselves. You help them become a better version. That's loyalty. That's love. That's the true unity. Hey, dude, you're screwing up. Change your ways and let's move on with this, because I'm not going to be here for this. You need to change yourself. That's love. If you've got to take somebody who, let's say, is struggling with alcoholism, go to their first AA meeting with them. The first step's denial. Right? I had a guy that I
don't hand them, money for another 12-pack or anything. That's when you say like, hey, you got a problem. We got to change what's going on in your life. I love you. I want you to continue doing this. I don't want you to end up in jail or dead or anything like that. Like, let's keep the good times rolling, but let's do it in a safe way. And
I have a friend from back in the day, and I went to his first AA meeting with him. So he didn't go alone. I sat there with him, and I was his crutch. And I loved it, because you know what? He stopped drinking, and that's the greatest thing that could happen, right?
Yeah. And like, people might get upset. I mean, I know alcoholics, when you're trying to get them to quit, or even drug addicts, when you're trying to get them to quit, they don't want to admit to it. They think you're against them. They want to attack you. They want to lash out at you. But it's not that. You're just trying to help them, and that kind of relates to this. Like, if someone has anything, even if it's like good criticism, but just any criticism at all, they're automatically seen as an enemy. That's what happened with me, and I'm gonna mention names. I'm not scared. And Ophelia, I had some criticism. I had some points that she could have taken to continue, going a different direction than all the drama, because I never wanted to see all this drama. And I was automatically seen as an enemy because, like, oh well, you're talking shit about me. It's like, no, I'm not.
That's a
When
narcissistic mentality.
with Jaime, I did the exact same thing to him, and he took that in, and he was all like, you know what, you're right on this. I'm not going to do everything you say, but you know what, you make some good points on this. Because what I first said about Ophelia compared to what I first said about Jaime, I went bad at Jaime. Like, I said some bad things about him. He made a live and said some bad things about me. But in the end, we talked about it, and he was all like, you know what, like, good, you made some good points. And we've been good ever since then. That's all it takes, is just for you to at least take someone's opinion and consider it. Show a little bit of consideration for what someone else says about you, rather than cut all that out and only listen to the good things and just build your ego, build your ugly sense of pride, if you want to call it that.
That's the thing with people, is they live with their ego right here, and because you live with your ego right here, this is why you have so many problems. This is why you don't have thick skin. It's because your ego's right there, and you have to learn. As a Taoist, we learn to live without the ego right here. And even Ophelia can have a great platform. I mean, she's a little bit more mature than me, but look at the Golden Girls. They started young, and they went for how many years? That's the Golden 60s Club right there. Yeah. She can do great. Just walk away from the hate and just worry about your platform and do things that your ladies love. And you don't have to get into the hate. You don't got to get into the fighting. Just stop, right?
Yeah. But a lot of people just become impatient and angry when they're not getting that recognition, when they're not getting that treatment from people. And it starts turning into like anger and rage because they're not getting the attention they want. They're not getting the outcome they want, because they want 100% of people saying that they're loved. They want 100% of people saying that we're behind you. We support you. You're doing awesome. Keep going. And that just builds them up. That's part of the narcissism in their minds, to where they're going to continue doing that because they don't want to change that and have one person say like, I'm not going to follow you anymore.
And that's actually the definition of a... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Definition of what?
That is somebody who has and I'm not saying she does, but that is the true definition of somebody who has a narcissistic personality disorder. They cannot take criticism. So it's really hard to get those people into therapy or group therapy, because they cannot accept criticism and they will go fire. They just boom, And so it's really hard to work on those people. There's a vlogger on he's on Facebook and he does reels. He actually has a narcissistic personality disorder, and the cool thing about him is that he's actually finally gone to therapy. And not only is he finally trying to change himself to where he's no longer has that, but he's showing other people as well as human beings, or other women, this is what you need to look for in a man, because I'm that guy. I've been diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder.
Out all the red flags
yes. Yeah. And he tells them straight up. In fact, I'll look for it right now while we're talking.
Yeah.
And I'll give y'all his handle.
And we're talking about this not to bash anyone.
No.
I know, but I know we've mentioned some people, and they're probably going to take that as, a threat. They're going to take it as we're using them for content. They're going to take, no, you're an example. You're not content. You're a fucking example of narcissism. But, just so they don't cry foul, I've had the police called on me because I mentioned, Ophelia once, and I talked to the police officer. He laughed about it. He laughed it off, saying not even to worry about it, that he didn't even take a case number for it. Because it was nothing. I'll use, Vanessa as an example. Like, there was a time where I considered her a narcissist because I saw that she would block other people who said anything negative about her. Not even negative about her, but just like, oh, you should, worry about your girls. You should do this. And she would like close them off. So I called her, a little bit of a narcissist there. Now I see it's completely something different.
She's not.
yeah, now that I've grown,
She's
now
setting boundaries.
that I've like
She's been in
actually looked
therapy.
more into it,
Yeah.
it's not because she's seen mistakes. She's seen things, and like I'm not here saying, "Oh, Team Vanessa, Team leave her alone" and stuff like that. I'm just saying she's at least identifying her issues that she has, because there are issues there. I'm not gonna make a whole video on it. I'm not gonna make a whole content just talking about one person. That's there's other platforms that do that. I'm just saying that the way she takes
And it's a
criticism versus the way other people
Yeah.
take criticism, you could see it's night and day there. I've always said, if someone doesn't like something about me, let me know about it, because how could I grow and change and become a better person if I'm continuing to do things that everyone sees as wrong? I'm not going to change every little
Yeah.
thing that someone suggests to me, but if there's like an overall census to it, they're all like, hey, like you should kind of stop doing this, or like it's not cool that you're talking about this. I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. I'm not perfect. I'm not an expert in anything. If enough people are telling me that this needs to change, okay, maybe I really do need to like take this in, sit back, and consider this change. That's what I do with the drama. I did some drama videos, and then I started doing like true crime and talking about movies, and people were all like, oh, this is such good content, or this is like a breath of fresh air, or it's nice to have a video where people aren't cussing and yelling at each other. I'm like, okay, that's something I took, I made it better. Yes, the numbers aren't there, uh, but at least I'm not having to sacrifice my mental health and come up with new insults on a daily basis for those followers. The followers I have here, and I don't even like saying the word followers, the people who enjoy watching my content here are here because they want to break from that. They want to leave from that. I've seen it on both sides, on all the platforms, where there's people who are dedicated followers saying like, okay, can we talk about something else? Next topic, or let's talk about this now. And you need to kind of give your audience what they want to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. That is true, my friend. And
Yeah.
somebody made a great comment here, wasting police resources. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about that. Let's say, um, and I did work out in Willacy County for a while. And let me tell you, I met some great people out there. I met some great people in Willacy County. They're what you call trabajadores, right? They work hard. And they're brilliant people. They're sweet, beautiful people out there. They really are. And this is a small town, so many cops, right? So what if their phone lines are getting clogged with, so and so said this to me online, and so, but yet somebody really is being held up at a gas station. There's a gun in their face. Well, guess what? 911 didn't get the call because y'all keep flooding those lines. So stop making the stupid police reports or the stupid fraudulent calls. And then the other thing on top of that line.
I've been on the
And
other,
then
other
there's
end of
some.
that line.
Yeah.
I know how it
And
is, and it sucks because that happens. There'll be people calling because they left their keys in a car. Meanwhile, there's someone doing 80 in like a 30, where that kind of takes a little bit more of a priority, but we can't because this officer's already talking to this person about their keys in their car.
Right. Or the false reports. Y'all know that there's a law about making false police reports, right? It's a misdemeanor. I think it's a misdemeanor, isn't it? The ticket for making a false police report.
It's a misdemeanor, but what departments do, because this is what happened with McAllen when I worked. There was someone who would make these false reports. They would take them and they let it build up to the point to where it was considered a felony, so that way it could be an arrest versus just a citation. Like, because I mean, you could give out like a bunch of citations, let it go, and that's where it dies because you wrote the citation, case closed, if you want to say it that way. But if you keep all that on record, if you keep the number of times they called, how many times, what they said, what was true versus what wasn't, then they could take that to the DA. They could take it and say like, look, we have this individual who's called this many times between this month and this month. Look how many officers have responded. Look how many hours police officers have used just speaking to this individual. Can we sign a warrant off for them for a felony? And they're gonna be all like, yeah, because the money that the officers waste, the police departments waste on these calls, that gets billed to the city. So the city's losing out on money. And anytime you mess with anyone's money, as we've seen in all this drama, that's when people start taking action. So they're like, hell yeah, we're gonna get this person so they could stop making these calls.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, we were talking about, we wanted to have this show because we're always talking about serial killers, and
Yeah.
I love doing that true crime stuff.
Hmm.
And there's a woman who does makeup. What's her name? Oh, before I let y'all go, Lee Hammond. Look up Lee Hammock. Lee Hammock Mental Healness. Lee Hammock Mental Healness. He has the page on narcissistic personality disorder. And so for you single ladies, and even anyone really, I really highly recommend you go and follow Lee Hammock from Mental Healness, and he will give you those tips you need to know so that you see the red flags and how to handle someone who has a narcissistic personality disorder. And the
Hmm.
other thing we wanted to talk about was sociopaths. Like, you know,
I could
remember we
go
said we
on
wanted
about
to.
sociopaths. Like I could list
Yeah,
some of the symptoms, and you're gonna automatically start thinking of people. It would be different individuals. Like it could be like a family member, it could be a friend of yours, because the statistic is 1 in 30 people has a form of a personality disorder, like the sociopaths. So right now we got what, 22 people plus me and you. Throw 5 more people in there. Someone here is going to be a sociopath, statistically speaking. And there's so many traits, and like we could go on and on about that. We could say that for another video because I know it's already getting kind of late. We've already been on for over an
yeah.
hour. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean that was going to be the topic for today's video, but it turned into a 30-minute long intro, and then we started going off on all these things, and
Sorry.
that's perfectly
Sorry.
fine. There's no structure to these shows, and like as you make your own like content, you're gonna see that, okay, I want to talk about this and this, but then someone starts commenting and you get off track. I get off track whenever people start talking about movies. um so it happens. But hey, if you're free tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, we could do like complete um
I say we
uh,
do tomorrow, and we bring up sociopathic mind, like, or we can bring
yeah.
up the serial killer, John Wayne Gacy. So
Hmm.
again, it's teaching people be careful with the content creators, but not just content creators, but be careful with people in reality. Because John Wayne Gacy, people always wonder why KFC blacks the blue so hard. And if you've seen the documentary about John Wayne Gacy, you know why KFC blacks the blue so hard. That's because the founder's daughter was married to the serial killer, and thank God she divorced him and left him. But we can go over his whole facade, how he
Yeah.
coveted who he really was, and the way he coveted who he really was just like the biggest mind screw ever. And I like to see that one tomorrow. I love that one.
Yeah, no, we could do that one. If you're free tomorrow, I don't know exactly what time I'll be free, but I'll make the announcement, and we could do that if everyone wants to join in and talk about that. Also, there's some serial killers I want to talk about. I don't know if it's not a sociopath, but I don't know if you saw that Caleb Brown story I posted.
No, but let's look into it. I'll look
Yeah,
into it tonight. Well, you and I usually talk about that stuff, so I'll take a look
yeah,
at it.
yeah. So yeah, it's
Oh,
on my
I'm
page.
sharing it. You like, do this one, do that one.
It's it's a crazy story. Her killer was known as the Amazon review killer, because he would go and write reviews with the tools and weapons he used to kill and chain up his victims.
You
Um,
know that. Speaking on that, you know what? How about we give everybody homework and they're to watch the old movie, The Usual Suspects. That's a good
Well,
one.
I think everyone's seen that, but I mean, we can just talk about them. I don't want to force anyone to do anything, but we could
About The Usual
definitely.
Suspects, man, that's a good movie, and it's old school movie. It's old, but it is so good.
Yeah,
That one
and
really gets you, like, who's Kabasi and who's Kaiser Sosa. That's one of my fave movies besides Silence of the Lambs. Oh
yeah,
my god, I love.
we can talk about that. Like my inbox is always open for people to drop suggestions. Another suggestion that's been dropped to me that I've wanted to talk about is false accusations, and the
Yeah.
and like that could be, when it comes to, sexual allegations that turn out to be false, assault allegations, just um just even like spreading rumors, just hoping it catches fire, like, catches wind and then just turns into fire on somebody. I think
Yvette, the movie The Usual Suspects. I'm sorry, Dee Dee. It's a movie called The Usual Suspects. It's a really good movie.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess we could wrap it up now. I'll drop like some topics and bullet points that we could talk about next time, and sometime tomorrow, if not maybe Tuesday, we'll do this again. It was good. We had a great crowd, but I think everyone else went live also, so the numbers kind of dipped. But it's not about the numbers; it's about just making contact with other individuals who are here. I mean, the people who
And-
stayed obviously preferred this kind of topic of just talking about like mental health and this little back and forth and stuff. And I'm glad you came up. I'm hoping you create your platform and I can watch you. You can invite me as guest, and we could talk about stuff like that. So if
We
you want
can
to
do
just
some true crimes together.
some true crime, like I said, like talking about the morbid stories of the world, which is something that is always interesting to me. Like I don't know, like if you remember like Rotten.com and AlbinoBlackSheep.com, like those old faces of death, like that kind of like morbid reality in today's world. um Stuff like that's cool, but we'll talk about this a little bit later. If you want to throw out your name again, because I know people are asking about you. People are asking for your platform name because they want to follow you. You don't have your channel yet, but you at least have a channel that they can subscribe to for now.
Right. I'll publish I'll publish my pages again because right now I have them hidden, but I'll publish it and I have my YouTube. So, but let me get my feet a little wet and let the master of disaster over here, Digital Dimwit, teach me about YouTube and how he all this stuff in the back end.
Yeah, and there you go. I went ahead and I
And
added your name there, Purely Nanda. That's your that's your channel on YouTube. You already have it because you've already commented on everyone's live before.
yeah.
If you weren't here like on live with me, you'd probably be in the comments throwing in your 2 cents here and there, which I always
Yes.
appreciate everyone's 2 cents, even if it's negative towards me. The fact that you're typing is helping my analytics, so that's perfect. But y'all have a good one. Have a good Sunday. We're getting close into Monday. I hope y'all don't have work tomorrow. I know I don't, but we'll see you later. All right, bye everybody.
Bye, blessings, everybody. Good night.